Carl, would you like to start by asking Gary a few questions on our pre-season goal?
Yeah, just as usual at this time of the year, we like to get Gary on and someone else's voice on here. So Gary's here today. The boys are back in training. If you just want to let everyone know how training's going and how the group have all settled in.
Yeah, sure. As you know, we've brought another few new faces, new names in again this year. Pre-season started a couple of Saturdays ago. We've also brought in some changes to our backroom staff with Rhys Lovegrove coming in as conditioning coach, and he's really putting the boys to the sword. No one likes pre-season. It's difficult as a coach and it's difficult as a player. Making sure it's planned properly, but Rhys has done a terrific job and the boys are really enjoying it. And we're working them pretty tough down in the gym at Cantley, and just getting them conditioned really with a slightly different approach this year as well. The physio's doing a lot of work with them as well. As we all know, we got a lot of injuries last year, so we're doing some work on injury prevention as well to try and make sure that the boys are ready for when we start stepping it up, and that'll be over the next couple of weeks.
I've mentioned on here, I know you watch it most weeks, but I've mentioned on here about the size of the team this year, and a big factor is when they're that size, and if we can get them fit, I think we'll be a force to be reckoned with. And you know, what sort of things are they doing down at training?
Yeah, well, obviously that's another reason why we wanted to bring Rhys in, who was a specialist in that field. So we're working, and you're right, it is a big side this year. We've got a very big pack, you know, we're a big pack of forwards, and we've got to make sure that first we get some strength and some power into them. That's the first phase of pre-season. So they're working hard in the gym. We're lifting some heavy weights at the moment. It is pretty much gym based. There is some work out on the field doing skills and stuff. We're interacting between the two, but primarily Rhys is really in charge until the end of December. Really, it's up to Rhys to get to a certain point in time where we can take over. So you know, it's a lot of weight related stuff. They're lifting heavy stuff, and it's what's called a hypertrophy phase to try and get them even bigger, really, but lean and muscular, and then we can move into the next phase. But yeah, it's just a case of interjecting the skills work with the power and the strength work that's being done in the gym. And as I said, the boys are reacting really well to Rhys. He's doing some very good stuff with him. I've been impressed with him, certainly. And I think, as you mentioned in the press release when we signed Rhys, I think he'll be a terrific addition to our club.
Just another thing, obviously I talk on here with my own views and stuff like that. Just tell everyone just your thinking behind the signings this year. It's totally different from the signings we made last year. What do you feel we learned as a group from last year, and what was the reasoning obviously behind signing a lot more of these experienced players?
Yeah, I think last year we did bring a lot of youngsters in from ex-academy players straight out of Super League. It's always a difficult transition for those kind of players. I think a couple of them have moved on. You know, we know that Foggin Johnson and Milton have moved on, and good luck to them in their new ventures. But you know, people like Jordan Howden, who's fairly fresh out of 19s, it was his real full season at that level. And I think he adapted really well, and I'm expecting more from him next year once he gets his injuries cleared up. But I just thought we were a little bit short of some leaders for these young guys in the middle of the field in particular. Michele wasn't really firing on all cylinders with a knee injury, so we've got that fixed up, and he should be much better next year. We had Fecker. You know, Fecker was that guy that they all looked up to, but I just thought we needed a little bit more experience in that middle of the field area, which is a tough part of the field, especially in this League One. It's a bit of a slog in the middle of the field. I think as you move up the leagues, you look at Super League, it's a lot faster. Obviously the players are a lot fitter and they've got higher skill levels, but Championship not so much. But down in League One, it really is a battle up the middle of the field, and you look at teams like Barrow were very good and very effective, and certainly Whitehaven coming down will, because Cumbrian teams always have been. I thought it was important that we got a really big, strong but mobile pack as well, with some experience in there, people that were going to stand up to the challenge. And certainly bringing Jamie Thackeray in, he's an experienced player. He'll wind up the opposition as much as he'll get his own players going, and I think he's a great addition. Fecker on a full-time signing will be fantastic for us, and bringing Russ Spears back as well, I thought was massive in that middle unit. But I think what that will do is help the younger boys like Connor and Zach, who, you know, for me were terrific last year, but the young guys, certainly young in terms of prop forwards, you know, being 22, 23 years old, they've still got a lot to learn, and I think they'll flourish being around people like Fecker, more often, and Jamie Thackeray and even Russ Spears, who even at only 25, he's got an awful lot of experience under his belt. So I thought it was really important to strengthen that middle unit of the field, and I'm really confident, really happy with what we've got. And of course, I'm missing Mark Castle out there as well, because I don't think we need to underestimate the role he plays. And he got an award last year for Man of Steel, and I thought it was thoroughly deserved. So that middle of those props, I think we've really strengthened in that area. We've got a real solid unit in there as well. And
then you look at the back row.
Yeah.
In the centres with Chris Hale and Richie Barnett, they're not small as well, and it's a big side across the park.
It is.
I've been down there, and it's a very, very big team across the park.
Yeah, and as I said, I thought that was important that we got some size. I don't think we were over big last year. We probably got steamrolled a little bit by a couple of clubs, certainly Barrow in that semi-final ran over the top of us, and I wanted to prevent that. So getting that middle unit strengthened and getting some size in there, obviously the next step we look at was the edges and the second rows and centres. And as you rightly said, we've brought in Charlie Martin from Keighley, who's again only a young kid, but he's had tons and tons of experience. He's been at some really good clubs, Castleford, Bradford, Batley, Keighley. He's been at some real good clubs, and he's going to be a real good addition for us. And he again, a big guy, big 6'2", big strong guy. Jason Moranka, who probably people at Doncaster won't know too much about, but he's been around at Dewsbury for a couple of years, and another big athletic kid. He's 6'3", so those two guys coming in are going to give us some real competition for places in the back row, and of course Mason Thompson. We know what Mason can do. He just needs to get his injuries problems sorted out. So again, in that back row, we've put we've got some competition for places in there. And competition in the house, and we have got genuine competition throughout, in my opinion. And Corey Hansen's coming as well, and Corey was a very promising young player in his days at Sheffield. He probably didn't get the crack that he deserved when he was there for whatever reason, but he's kept himself fit. He's come back in great condition, and he's had 2 really good games for Jamaica. So again, he's going to be pushing for a back row spot or a middle unit spot, and that so there is a lot of competition within that pack of forwards. Which is what we wanted to create, and I have every confidence that whoever gets in that 17 will do us a great job, but they need to know that there'll be somebody pushing really hard behind them to take the shirt. And as you mentioned in the house, we haven't mentioned young Jack Miller yet. Obviously Jack's coming to the club having 2 years out in Australia, where he's got a terrific playing record out there, won lots of awards, won the Competition Player of the Year award, and that's tough to do in Australia. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him come in, and the relationship and the partnership that he's going to be building with Jordan Howden and Geordie Edges is going to be really exciting, I'm sure.
So, overall, are you quite happy with,
I am,
what you brought in?
Yeah, we've got 25 on the books now that are in training. We've got a couple of long-term injuries that people may know about. Obviously, Mike Kelly was very, very unfortunate, but we know what Mike can do when he's fit. So, I think it's only right that we look after these guys who got injured playing for us. So we've shown a little bit of loyalty towards him, because he's been loyal to us in the past. So we look after Mike, and hopefully he can get on with his rehab and get back playing as soon as possible. And if we can get him back in April, May, that'd be a fantastic boost for us, because it'll be like having a new player. And the same with Matty Nicholson. I thought Matty was terrific last year, up to getting his injury away at London. I thought he was probably our best forward. So again, those 2 guys hopefully coming back into the main group in April, May time will put some extra pressure on those that are already playing. So I think it'll give us a great boost. But yeah, I think overall, the balance of the team is very good. There's competition throughout the squad for places, and they're a very, very good group. We already had a pretty good, close-knit group of players last year, and the players that we've brought in haven't spoilt that. I think that's important, that you bring in good people as well as being good players, and that's what we've done. And as I said, they're really enjoying training at the moment, and there's a good feeling and a good spirit about the camp, and everybody seems to be enjoying each other's company, and as I said, Reece is really giving it to them. So hopefully that'll give us a good platform, and give us some good grounding, some good foundations to build on, ready for when we start, some structure stuff in January, ready for the pre-seasons.
Yeah, and for me, I'd like, I feel like the club's obviously backing us. You've asked if you can take him away on a little camp before we start, and we've authorised that. And what was the thinking behind that, and what do those sort of camps? What do they do for the team? Well,
it's important. I mean, what we're doing there. So and I have to thank Dave Cook for this. He's part of accelerating coaching, who's a local guy in Doncaster who's helped me to facilitate this. So yeah, really, big shout out to Dave for that. But yeah, we're going to take them out of the comfort zone. We're going to do something a little bit different. It's a tried and tested means of team bonding, and lots of clubs do it, and it has worked. It does work. But yeah, we're going to go down to an army base, and we're going to live rough for a night and under the stars in the freezing cold, and then do a little bit of sort of weapons training and some assault course stuff. And the stuff that they're not familiar with, the stuff that they need to communicate with each other about to get right, and the army boys are going to test them, both mentally and physically. So I think it's just something. It's nice just to get out of your usual day-to-day environment into somewhere a little bit different. And the boys will spend a good 3 days with each other that they probably wouldn't do normally. So I think it's just really good in terms of team bonding and team building to get out of your normal environment and do something a little bit different. And as I said, test them mentally and physically. So we'll be looking forward to that, and hopefully the boys buy into what we're trying to achieve with that, and we'll have a good weekend.
Well, that's obviously certainly a lot of inside information on the team there, and you hear Gary, speaking about it on the websites and that. But now you've heard it directly from him. And obviously, it's looking exciting for a big year for us, and they'll be going away on that camp just before we start playing the pre-season games. So everything looks good to be gearing up for a decent season.
I hope so. Yeah, obviously we work hard in the off season, putting these plans in place, and we've put a plan together that we think is going to. It's all about peaking at the right time. I think we've said this before, and if your promotion route is through playoffs, you've got to make sure that come those playoffs that we're all firing on all cylinders. So we've put a plan in place, and we've started that plan now, and we're working through it, and I'm really happy where we are within that plan. Obviously, you will need to change it. I don't know what's going to happen with the weather and stuff like that. Things may change, and we have got to have a plan B. But so far, we're working to plan A, and it's going pretty well. And I'm really pleased with where we're at. We know we've got a lot of work in front of us. We have got a lot of work in front of us, and I think the division's much tougher this year than it was last year. And of course, Toronto coming in, and Whitehaven and Workington coming down. We know how tough Barrow are. I think Keighley have signed pretty well. So this is going to be a really tough competition for us, but I'm confident with the squad that we've put together, and obviously the help from Carl and Club Doncaster with the squad that we've put together. We're going to go for it. We're going to give it our best shot and do as well as we can in every competition that we're in. And we know Toronto have signed really, really well, and they're going to be tough. And everybody's talking about them being a foregone conclusion. But I think we'd like to think that we've got a say in that, and certainly we'll be there or thereabouts. All
right, thanks, Gary. It'll be unjust for me to say this before we go. If he's excited you and you want to get down and watch the boys, you better get to the ticket office very quickly and get your season ticket. Come on, there's not many left. Mind you, there's a few left. Hurry up. Get your season ticket if you like what Gary said, and get on the terraces. The boys need your support. Thanks very much.